Well, good afternoon, and thank you for choosing KREX5 News. I'm Adrian Thomas, in for Katrin Asaf. President Donald Trump held a massive rally at the Broadmoor World Arena in Colorado Springs Thursday night. He discussed topics important to Coloradans, such as the energy industry and military spending, as Colorado Springs is home to the Air Force Academy. We sent our very own Katrin Asaf to cover the rally. That's why she's not at the desk this afternoon. She has a full recap from Colorado Springs.
The voices of thousands of Trump supporters filled the halls of the Broadmoor World Arena as Coloradans gathered to see the president speak during his re-election campaign stop in the Centennial State.
Hello, Colorado. We love Colorado.
In his nearly 2-hour speech, the president covered a variety of different topics, including many that are important to us on the western slope, one of which was health care.
I signed an executive order imposing price transparency. That's going to be bigger than health care in a certain way.
And one of our main economic drivers, the oil and gas industry.
Every major Democrat running for president wants to entirely eliminate American production of oil and natural gas, crushing Colorado's economy.
A topic his representatives say he has under control.
Under his leadership, America has actually become energy independent, and he will defend and protect those industries and the 10 million jobs nationally that they represent.
He and surprise guest Vice President Mike Pence also took advantage of the proximity of the Air Force Academy to discuss military spending.
President Donald Trump has increased the Air Force budget by more than $35 billion. We are back in the air.
After honoring Colorado's few Republican politicians, Trump ended the day-long rally with his go-to catchphrase.
We will make America great again. Thank you, people of Colorado.
First on the western slope, Katrin Asaf, KREX5 News.
And while the president talked about general issues affecting the western slope at his Colorado Springs rally, U.S. Senator Cory Gardner, also in attendance, spoke to Grand Valley voters directly. The Republican senator up for re-election in November joined the president on stage twice during the rally. He talked about similar issues to Trump, but also focused on projects he personally spearheaded, such as the Arkansas Valley Conduit, which would bring drinking water to rural communities in southeastern Colorado. Gardner also took the time to give a shout-out to one of the Western Slope's most iconic profiles while touting his achievements with public land policy.
Now, I think they heard you on Pike speak, but they didn't hear you on Mount Garfield. Give them another round of applause. We have relocated the Bureau of Land Management to Grand Junction, Colorado. We have returned millions of dollars to counties in the western slope of Colorado.
Gardner is facing tough competition for his U.S. Senate seat, with a possible opponent in former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, a likely frontrunner in the Senate race. While on the other side of the political aisle, Colorado's other U.S. Senator held his own event right here in Grand Junction on Thursday. Democrat Michael Bennet held a town hall at Colorado Mesa University to hear from voters. He discussed healing political division and major environmental legislation he has been working on. I caught up with the senator after his town hall to find out which issues brought up by voters stood out to him. Environment, healthcare, and political division were the big themes of questions at Senator Michael Bennet's town hall at Colorado Mesa University. He heard from dozens of Western Slope voters. The main issues the senator took away were
healthcare, climate, the economy, but how are we actually going to do anything? One of the things I pointed out in there, we can't even pass a basic infrastructure bill because of how broken the Congress is.
A solution Bennet presented to voters who asked about the environment in Colorado was his Colorado Outdoor Recreation Economy, or CORE Act. This bill would protect more than 400,000 acres of public land across Colorado and create 73,000 acres of new protected wilderness. Senator Bennet feels this bill could be popular across party lines in Colorado.
It was not written in Washington, D.C., and that's one of the reasons why I think it has such broad-based support across the west slope of Colorado.
Senator Bennet was also vocal about his differing on policy with Senator Bernie Sanders, especially when it came to health care. But he tells us he's not endorsing any candidate in the Democratic field yet.
I'm going to take my time and figure out who I think would be the best leader for the country and vote for that person, hopefully support that person.
We'll, of course, keep following all major political races in Colorado heading into the March 3rd primary.